Okay, today's story about some shady motherfucker, and title of the story, The Puppetmaster's Playground. So, alright, pull up a chair and, get comfortable because I'm about to spin you a yarn about a guy so shady he makes alley cats look like a chore boys. His name is Victor Viper Vance, and let me tell you, this dude could sell ice to Eskimos and have them calling him to ask for blood. Okay, picture this slicked back hair so greased you can't tell if it's a style choice or a slip and slide accident. A suit so sharp it could slice through pizza, and smile that says, I'm about to twist your life into a pretzel and still make you thank me for it. That's Viper for you, equal parts charm and venom, a real life lesson in why you should never trust a guy whose nickname is an animal with venomous fangs. So Victor's playground was the neon-lit streets of Crescent City, a town that smelled like a cheap bourbon and a wet pavement. He ran a chain of, investment counseling offices in rundown strip malls, promising gold plate returns to anyone with 2 nickels to rub to go. Folks would line up, clutching their rent money and retirement dreams, eyes wide like kids in front of a candy store. And Viper, he would lean back in his leather chair, fingers stippled, reciting memorized lines that sounded part Shakespeare, part motivational speaker, and part late night infomercial. Invest with me, he would say, and watch your life blossom like a morning glory in spring. And meanwhile he was busy harvesting the seeds for his own twisted garden. Now you might wonder, how does a guy like this get away with it? Easy. Whipper was a master manipulator, a con artist with the charisma of a rock star and the moral compass of a broken Sundel. He knew the power of a well-timed compliment, sympathetic eyebrow raise, and the occasional well-placed bribe. He had people convinced that if they just, trusted him, their 401k would become like 401 king. But behind the tiny glass of his office, behind the forced laughter and the glittering PowerPoint slides, was a ledger of lies so vast you could swim in it. He was, spinning gold out of thin air, and if you ask it how, he would wink and say, magic baby. One of his favorite moves, the Sympathy Slam. He would lurk around local community centers, feeing concerns for folks struggling with, air quotes, financial insecurity. He would listen to their woes, divorce papers, sick kids, broken dreams, and not like he was assembling a patchwork quilt of their sadness. Then he would pounce, sliding them a glossy brochure promising sanctuary. Invest with a Viper and watch your problems melt away. It was like, telling a drowning man that throwing gold coins at the water would make him float. Before you knew it, Grandma Agnes was wiring her life-saving, and Joe Fingers Malone had mortgaged his fishing boat. But always there was a catch. Whipper's so-called, air quotes, investments were like those carnival games, rigid so you can't win. The stocks, he hyped, fiction. The partnerships he showcased, shell companies with names so forgettable you need a shot of espresso to recall them. And the returns, he paid out pennies on the dollar to a few lucky folks, mostly family members or cronies, so everyone else would believe it was legit. It was a classic Ponzi dance, and he led the Konya line straight to bankruptcy court. By the time the music stopped, dozens of lives were in shambles. And Whipper wore that evening's fancy new watch, courtesy of someone's ruined retirement. And his downfall, well, that's where the real fun begins. See, no matter how slick you think you are, everyone slips on a banana peel eventually. Whipper got greedy. He started living the high life, Ferrari here, penthouses, suits here, there, advertising success he never really had. He hosted lavish parties at the Velvet Lounge, pouring champagne like water, surrounded by models who probably wouldn't remember his name by sunrise. He needed fresh schemes to fund his lifestyle, and that meant targeting bigger fish, local business, non-profits, even churches. Enter Maya Gonzalez, a math teacher with a soft spot for Sudoku puzzles and heart of gold. Maya taught her students more than algebra. She taught them how to think. She believed in fairness, in honesty, and that people deserved a chance without being sold snake oil. One afternoon, Whipper cornered her after school. She was fussing over a stack of essays on her desk when he swooped in, offering her, so-called exclusive access to an educational endowment fund he was backing. He spun a tale like he'd partnered with, with the local school district to fund scholarships. Sounded noble. Algebra students getting extra cash to buy calculators, but Maya's gut told her something was off. Maya, being a cautious soul asked the right questions, like, who are your partners, what's the track record, can I see the documentation. Whipper flashed that grin as smooth as melted butter and deflected, saying details, trust me, Maya, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. That's a good way, actually. He tossed in buzzwords like stakeholder synergy and ROI in social capital, figures that sound impressive but meant squat. Maya, albeit wary, was convinced by the social pressure. Teachers around the break room were whispering about it, and the principal seemed to nod approvingly. So she signed the papers. Within a month, she realized, the so-called endowment was nothing more than empty promises. half the money disappeared into Whipper's private account, and Maya was left scrambling to explain to her students why their so-called scholarships were vapor. And then rumors started swirling like cigarette smoke in a dive bar. A former client tried to corner Viper at a local and very rundown diner, but Viper charm blasted his way out, buddy, you got your money, then who cares? His cronies sat silent, munching on a stale pancakes, pretending not to notice. But word gets around. Detective Candler, a grizzled cop who smelled like phony IDs, like a bloodhound sniffs out drugs, began sniffing around. Chandler wasn't your run-of-the-mill badge and gun guy. He had once been Viper's childhood classmate before Viper sold his mom's car to buy a taco truck that surprisingly never sold tacos. So Chandler had seen the change in Viper's eyes when they were kids. Something dark flickered behind those slicked back strands. And one rainy night with a jazz music leaking out of the crackled windows of the Velvet Lounge, Viper made a fatal mistake. He tried to launder money through a crook jazz club owner named Soul, air quotes Sleep Marino, a guy whose idea of a good time was sticking a hard poker in your hand to see if you screamed. Soul realized the funds were tainted, basically monopoly money disguised as the real deal. He called in a favor with Chandler, handing over ledgers and account numbers like plot twists in a movie no one wrote a script for. Soon Chandler's team was gathering subpoenas, seizing records, and getting real testimony from freaked out clients. Viper, sensing the walls closing in, tried one last play. He put on a charity gala promising that a portion of ticket sales would go to flood relief. He invited all the big shots, bankers, lawyers, and folks who should have known better. He strutted around in a tux so tight you would think he was, hiding grenades in his pockets. He delivered a speech that would have made a motivational speaker whip, complete with a slideshow of afflicted children waving at the camera. But halfway through it, Chandler's officers waltzed in, wearing suits instead of uniforms, and whisked Viper away in handcuffs. The crowd gasped, half in disbelief, half in relief. Some had just, donated their life savings to his cause. At the trial, Viper's theatrics were on full display. He arrived in a suit that still screamed, "I own the courtroom," swaggering down the aisle like he just won a gold medal in a public deceit. He waved at reporters, winked at a woman in the gallery, and even tossed a coin to a kid sitting in the front row. The kid almost choked. The prosecution had a documentary trial of evidence, emails, audio recordings, bank statements, but Viper, he took the stand, crossed his legs, and played the wounded businessman against a backdrop of fake sympathy. he claimed he was simply a misunderstood entrepreneur. He portrayed himself, as someone who only wanted to help people and got in over his head. The jury didn't buy it. 10 years behind bars, restitution requires his assets seized to pay back what he stole. Now, Viper's locked up in a cell so cramped his only so-called investments are ramen packets and guard bribes that vanish like ghosts. He is likely plotting his next big comeback, penning letters filled with empty boasts to pen pals who will inevitably realize they have been conned. And his empire is dust. His legacy is a cautionary tale what not to do. Poster in the county jail, and for him the stage is gone. The applause silenced, replaced by the echo of a busted life. But the ripple effect didn't stop there. Take old Mr. Harrison, for instance, used to run the neighborhood diner with a smile that warmed the whole block. He scrapped together his entire life savings to invest with Viper, and believing, promises that it was almost risk-free. When his money vanished, his diner closed. He spent days, hunched behind his counter until Maya found him, handed him a coffee, and taught him how to eke out a small pension from his socials. Mr. Harrison still serves up pancakes on Saturday mornings, but now he adds a free, financial wisdom, so-called side of the host to anyone who will listen. Inside the prison walls, Viper's days blended into monotonous routines. Wake up, yard exercise, cafeteria line, bunk, repeat. He scribbled letters filled with half promises to half solicited pen pals. In his small cell, on the reflection, he saw a man haunted by his own grin. He tried pitching new schemes to inmates, smuggled cigarettes for so-called futures trading tips, barter-based currency in ramen packets, but word spread fast, and even inmates rolled their eyes at his empty boasts. He is stuck in a world where trust is a liability and irony tastes sour. Back in Crescent City, Maya turned his seminars into a formal non-profit trust but verified, teaching financial basics so people couldn't fall prey to the next Viper. She recruited volunteers like students, retirees, even a few reformed low-level crooks. The non-profit held weekly truth circles in the community center, where folks shared near-miss stories, like sipping lukewarm coffee and laughing through their price of admission. They learned that sometimes humor is the best medicine when your wallet's on life support. Detective Chandler, once just a cop, become an advocate for legislative change. He drafted a bill imposing harsher penalties on white-collar crimes because losing thousands often meant losing homes. He lobbied at the state capitol wearing a suit that looked as worn as Viper's lies. These con artists steals hope, he would say, and hope is not covered by insurance. The bill passed, and now anyone convicted of defrauding over $20,000 faced mandatory restitution and longer sentences. Chandler's got a grin on his face every time he sees a headline about a fraud bust. Crescent City itself took on a new identity. The strip mall that once proclaimed Viper Investments fell dark, replaced by a health clinic offering free counseling. Local business embraced transparency. Every shop displayed decorative blocks, no hidden fees, all-inclusive pricing, and queer care once like we wouldn't sell your grandma's pearls. Folks joke that if you need someone to blow up your boat, they out of those services, but they sure can balance your budget. Every year on the anniversary of Viper's sentencing, the city holds a street fair called Truth Fest. There are booths for budget planning, puppet shows depicting con artists, characters, and mock a trial where kids dress as judges to sentence a Viper in effigy. Maya recites stories of triumph from the main stage while local bands play uplifting tunes. It's become the biggest, day on a Crescent City's like a calendar, drawing curious visitors from neighboring towns who want to see how a community turns its darkest hour into celebration of truth. Maya herself changed through all this. She started off as a quiet math teacher solving equations. Now she solves human puzzles. Why we trust, why we doubt. She even began keeping a leather-bound journal, scribbling observations about body language and speech patterns. Friends tease her that she's become part detective, part counselor. She once confided, "I never imagined my love for numbers would save so many people from losing theirs." And in those late nights, when she grades paper by a lamplight, she fires off brazen ideas for her next seminar, like spotting a snake oil salesman by his eyes, and don't let your checkbook read like a comic book. And Maya knows the next Viper could be around the corner, so she stays vigilant just in case someone else tries to dance on the strings of trust. Until then, trust, verify, and maybe read the fine print. Thank you for listening to